The sound of tires rubbing against the road echoed in the hot air of an Atlanta summer afternoon. Marcus was walking home from his part-time job at the grocery store when he noticed the unusual sound. The 15-year-old black teenager stopped walking and looked towards the direction of the sound. The shiny black Rolls-Royce Ghost was slowly approaching, the wheels making a shrill noise every time they rotated. Sweat rolled down the back of Marcus's neck as he stood watching. Not because of Georgia's 95-degree heat, but because of the stress inside. He had been repeatedly warned by his mother to stay out of trouble, especially not to come into contact with strangers in this area. But there was something about this situation that made him unable to walk away. The luxury car stopped about 20 yards away from Marcus. The car door slowly opened, and a middle-aged white man got out. He was dressed in a meticulously tailored suit, looking like he had just stepped off the cover of Forbes. Marcus could smell expensive perfume wafting in the air. "Damned," the man muttered, kneeling down to inspect the wheel. "What bad luck." Marcus swallowed hard, his throat dry. Every instinct told him to leave. But then he remembered his mother's teachings about kindness and helping others. She often said, "Son, don't let fear stop you from doing the right thing." Taking a deep breath, Marcus walked towards the car. "Hello, sir. Do you need help?" The man looked up, his eyes slightly surprised when he saw the black teenager in an old t-shirt and worn jeans. Marcus could feel the appraisal in that look, making his skin crawl. "You know how to fix cars?" the man asked, his voice unable to hide his skepticism. Marcus nodded, trying to keep his voice calm. "Yes, sir. My uncle has a car repair shop. I often help him on weekends." He didn't add that it was the only way he could earn extra money to help his mother make ends meet when she wasn't working at the grocery store. The man stood up straight, brushing the dust off his pants. Marcus could see beads of sweat on his forehead, wetting his neatly combed silver hair. "Okay," he said, after a moment's consideration. "You can try." Marcus moved closer, kneeling down to examine the wheel. The smell of burning rubber filled his nose. "The tire's punctured, sir. Luckily, I know how to change it." "Are you sure?" The man still expressed doubts. "This is no ordinary car." Marcus smiled slightly, trying not to show his discomfort. "Trust me, a tire is a tire, no matter how expensive it is." For the next 30 minutes, Marcus worked in silence, sweat soaking the back of his shirt. He could feel the man's eyes following every move. The sound of traffic passing back and forth on the street echoed regularly. Occasionally, a few people walked by, throwing curious looks at them. Finally, Marcus stood up, wiping the sweat from his forehead. "It's done. You can check." The man walked over and walked around the car, carefully inspecting Marcus's work. His face gradually relaxed. "Not bad," he said, his voice a little friendlier. "Not bad at all." Marcus felt a rush of pride flow through him. This wasn't the first time he had to prove himself, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. "Thank you." The man reached into his wallet and pulled out a $100 bill. "Here, for your effort." Marcus shook his head. "No need. I just want to help." The man raised his eyebrows in surprise. He looked at Marcus more intently, as if really seeing him for the first time. "I'm James Wilson," he introduced. "What's your name?" "Marcus Johnson." "So, Marcus, why did you stop to help me? Surely you have more important things to do." Marcus felt his cheeks heat up. "My mother always taught that we should help others when we can. She said that's the way to make the world a better place." James Wilson was silent for a moment, his eyes looking into the distance, Then he pulled out a business card. "You seem like a remarkable young man, Marcus. I run a tech company downtown. Tomorrow, if you're free, come to my office. I have something to discuss with you." Marcus held the business card, his fingers shaking slightly. The company name printed on it is one of Atlanta's largest technology corporations. Thank you," he stammered. "No, Marcus. I'm the one who should be thanking you." James smiled, this time a sincere smile. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come from the places we least expect. As James drove away, Marcus stood watching, business card clutched in his hand. The sun is slowly setting over the Atlanta horizon, bathing tall buildings in a brilliant sunset. In the air, there is still the smell of burning rubber and expensive perfume, but now it has a different meaning, the scent of opportunity and hope. On the way home, Marcus couldn't stop smiling. He had heard many stories about fateful encounters that could change a person's life. Maybe this is your moment. But no matter what happens tomorrow, Marcus knows he did the right thing. Not because of the reward or the opportunity, but simply because it's the right thing to do. When he arrived at the small apartment where he lived with his mother, Marcus could smell the aroma of fried chicken his mother was cooking, his favorite dish. The soft sound of gospel music echoed from the old radio in the kitchen, and my mother's warm voice joined in. This is the definition of home for Marcus. Simple things, but full of love. "I'm home," Marcus called out, taking off his shoes and placing them neatly by the door. "Hello, son," Mother's voice rang out from the kitchen. "Why are you home so late today?" Marcus walked into the kitchen and observed his mother busy with the dishes. Sarah Johnson is a slim but strong woman, her face reflecting the hard years of raising her children alone. But her eyes always shined with joy and hope. "Mom," Marcus said, his voice shaking with excitement, "I have something to tell." As Marcus recounted the story of his encounter with James Wilson, Sarah listened attentively, occasionally nodding. Worry wrinkles appeared on her forehead when she heard her son talk about contact with strangers, but then they relaxed when Marcus told how he handled the situation. "My boy," Sarah said, placing her hand on Marcus's shoulder. "I'm proud of you. Not because of the opportunities you may have had, but because of the way you've behaved. You've shown that what I taught you was not in vain." Marcus hugged his mother tightly, breathing in the familiar scent of cheap shampoo and laundry detergent. "It's all thanks to Mom," he whispered. That night, lying on a single bed in a small room, Marcus couldn't sleep. He looked out the window, where the stars glimmered in the Atlanta sky. James Wilson's business card was placed on the old school desk under the dim night light as a promise for the future. Marcus doesn't know what tomorrow will bring. Maybe this will be an opportunity to change the lives of him and his mother. Or maybe it will just be a brief encounter, and then it will pass. But there's one thing he knows for sure. The values his mother taught him, of kindness, integrity, and helping others, will always be with him, no matter where life takes him. The distant sound of a train whistle echoed from the nearby train station, mixed with the buzzing sounds of cicadas and the familiar creaking sound of ceiling fans. Marcus closed his eyes, letting the late-night sounds of Atlanta lull him to sleep, his heart pounding with dreams of tomorrow. The next morning, Marcus woke up just as the sun was rising. The morning sunlight filtered through the old curtain, creating streaks of light dancing on the floor. He could hear clicking noises from the kitchen. Mother had woken up early to prepare breakfast before going to work the early shift at the hospital, where she worked as a janitor. Marcus wore the best clothes he had, a neatly pressed white shirt and clean khaki pants. This is the outfit he only wears on special occasions, like going to church or parent-teacher conferences. Looking at himself in the mirror, Marcus tried to keep his hands from shaking as he tied the tie his mother had bought him for his birthday last year. "You look so handsome," Sarah said as Marcus walked into the kitchen. She placed a plate of eggs and toast in front of her son. "Remember to eat it all. You need energy for today." Marcus nodded, trying to swallow the food even though his stomach was tight with anxiety. The fragrant smell of coffee from my mother's cup mixed with the familiar smell of buttered toast. "I packed you a lunch bag," Sarah said, placing a brown paper bag on the table, "in case you have to stay long." Marcus looked at his mother, feeling his heart warm. Even in the most difficult circumstances, mothers always put their sons first. "Thanks, Mom," he said softly. After breakfast, Marcus took the bus to downtown Atlanta. He sat by the window, watching the city gradually wake up. High-rise buildings reflect the morning sunlight, looking like giant crystal blocks. The noisy bus engine and the chatter of passengers create the familiar music of the city's mornings. The Wilson Tech building appears before us like a giant of glass and steel. Marcus had to crane his neck to see the top of the skyscraper. He took a deep breath, feeling the cold air of the air conditioner on his face as he walked through the turnstile. The luxurious reception desk with its polished marble floor made Marcus feel like he was in another world. The beautiful receptionist in a business suit looked at him with questioning eyes. "Hello," she said, her voice professional but a little suspicious. "What do you need help with?" Marcus pulled out James Wilson's business card. "I have an appointment to see Mr. Wilson." After a short call, the receptionist guided Marcus to the elevator. "Floor 50, she said. "Mr. Wilson's office is at the end of the hallway on the right." In the elevator, Marcus stood next to men and women in expensive suits. He could feel curious glances his way, but he kept his gaze straight ahead, remembering his mother's teachings about maintaining one's dignity. James Wilson's office shocked Marcus. The room is huge, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking panoramic views of Atlanta. White clouds drifted lazily across his eyes, making him feel like he was in heaven. "Hello, Marcus?" James Wilson's voice rang out from behind the massive mahogany desk. "I'm so glad you came." He stood up and walked towards Marcus with a friendly smile. Today he is wearing a sophisticated navy blue suit, the Rolex watch on his wrist sparkling under the light. "Please sit down," James pointed to the leather chair across from the desk. "What do you drink? Coffee? Water?" "Yes, water," Marcus replied, trying to keep his voice from shaking. James pressed the intercom to call the secretary to bring in water, then sat down across from Marcus. "You know, I thought a lot about our meeting last night," he said. "It's not every day that one meets a young person who is willing to stop and help others without expecting anything in return." Marcus felt his cheeks heat up. "That's what my mother taught me." "Your mother must have been a wonderful woman," James nodded. "Do you know why I invited you here?" Marcus shook his head. "Because I see something special in you, Marcus. It's not just your car repair skills, it's your character, your ethics." James stopped for a moment. "I would like to ask you to participate in a special internship program at our company." Marcus felt as if an electric current ran through his body. "Really? Internship?" "That's right. It's a 2-year work-study program. We'll train you in technology, project management, and many other skills. You'll get paid during your internship, and if you perform well, you have the opportunity to be officially recruited after graduating from high school." Marcus almost forgot to breathe. This is an opportunity that he never dared to dream of. But Why me? James smiled. In business, Marcus, people often talk about talent, qualifications, and experience. But in my opinion, the most important thing is character. Skills can be trained, but character, integrity. Integrity, kindness, sense of responsibility, those things must be inherent in people. He pushed a stack of documents towards Marcus. Here are the detailed information about the program. You can take it home and discuss it with your mother. We need answers this week. Marcus held the document, feeling it heavy in his hands, heavy with opportunities and responsibilities. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I don't know what to say. Don't thank me, James said. You deserve this chance. And, hey, he pulled out a check. This is my reward for helping me yesterday. Marcus looked at the number on the check and almost fell out of his chair. $5,000, the largest amount of money he had ever seen in his life. I can't accept, Marcus stammered. You can, and you should, James said firmly. Consider this as an investment for the future. Maybe you can use it to buy a new laptop for studying. When leaving the Wilson Tech building, Marcus felt like he was walking on clouds. He almost didn't realize he was walking to nearby Centennial Olympic Park. Sitting down on a stone bench, Marcus watched the children playing by the fountain, listening to their clear laughter mixed with the sound of gurgling water. He took out his phone and called his mother. When hearing Marcus talk about the meeting, Sarah was silent for a long time. Son, she said finally, her voice choking. This is the opportunity of your life. I always knew you were special, and now the whole world will see it. Marcus felt tears rolling down his cheeks. It's all thanks to Mom, he whispered. Thanks to what you taught me. Late in the afternoon, as Marcus walked home, he stopped at the same place where he had helped James Wilson yesterday. Looking at the hot road under the Georgia sun, Marcus smiled. A small decision to help others opened a new door in his life. But Marcus knows the road ahead will not be easy. There will be challenges, doubts, pressures. However, with the values his mother taught him as a guide, he believes he will overcome everything. 6 months after starting his internship program at Wilson Tech, Marcus has changed a lot. Not only the new laptop and clothes suitable for the office environment that he bought with the bonus money from Mr. Wilson, but also the way he walks, talks, and perceives the world. On the first Monday morning of December, Marcus walked into the Wilson Tech building with a familiar sense of confidence. Lisa, the receptionist who looked at him with suspicion on the first day, now greeted him with a bright smile. Hello, Marcus. You seem excited today? Marcus nodded, unable to hide his joy. I'm about to present my first project to the board of directors. Good luck, Lisa said with sincerity. In the elevator to the 50th floor, Marcus checked his outfit in the mirror. Fitted charcoal gray suit, straight tie, shiny black shoes. He smiled, remembering last night when his mother helped him choose his outfit and rehearse his final presentation. Do you remember what is most important? Sarah asked. Yes, I remember, Marcus replied. It's not about numbers or charts. It's about how we can help others. Marcus's project is a mobile app that connects people with basic repair skills with people in need of help in the area. This idea came from his own experience with Mr. Wilson 6 months ago. The board meeting room is located in the corner of the building, with impressive views of the city of Atlanta. When Marcus walked in, his heart beat fast when he saw the 12 serious faces of the executives. Mr. Wilson sat at the head of the table, nodding in encouragement. Hello, everyone, Marcus began, his voice steadier than he expected. Today, I want to share about an app that can change the way we connect and help each other in the community. When Marcus presents, he doesn't just talk about technical features or business models. He talked about people like his mother, people who had skills but lacked opportunities, about people like Mr. Wilson, people who need help but don't know where to find it. He talked about building trust in the community, about how technology can bring people closer together. At the end of the presentation, the room was silent for a moment. Then Mr. Wilson began clapping, and others quickly responded. "Impressive, Marcus," one executive said. "You not only understand technology, but also understand people." That afternoon, while Marcus was working at his desk, Mr. Wilson stopped by. "Would you like to have coffee with me?" They went to a small cafe near the building. The fragrant smell of roasted coffee mixed with gentle jazz music creates a cozy space. "You know, Mr. 6 months ago, when I asked you to join the internship program, a lot of people were against it," Wilson said after they sat down over cups of coffee. Marcus looked at him, surprised. "They say this program is for brilliant college students, not a high school student from a poor neighborhood." Mr. Wilson took a sip of coffee. "But I told them what I saw in you that day. A young man with a good heart and a desire to contribute." Marcus felt a lump in his throat. I didn't know that." "The board was impressed with your presentation today. They saw what I saw." Mr. Wilson smiled. "We want to develop your application into an official company project, and we want you to be the leader of this project." Marcus almost dropped his cup of coffee. "You? But you're just a trainee." "Age is not as important as vision and understanding, Marcus. You have both," Mr. Wilson said seriously. "Sometimes, young people like you can see things that those of us who have been in the industry for so long can no longer see." On the way home that night, Marcus stopped at the park where he usually sat. The sunset dyed Atlanta in brilliant orange, high-rise buildings sparkling like giant crystals. The laughter of children in the park, the sound of vehicles in the distance, and the sound of birds singing goodbye to the long day create the city's symphony. Marcus took out his phone and sent a text message to his mother. "Mom, I have good news to share. Shall we celebrate tonight?" Just a few seconds later, the phone vibrated with Sarah's reply. "Of course, son. I'll cook your favorite fried chicken." Marcus smiled, feeling warm in his heart. In the past 6 months, everything has changed a lot, but some things have always remained the same. His mother's love, the familiar fried chicken, and the lessons of kindness she taught him. That night, when Marcus told his mother about his success, Sarah listened with tears of pride in her eyes. "You know," she said, "sometimes the smallest actions bring the biggest changes in our lives." Marcus nodded, remembering the moment he decided to stop and help Mr. Wilson 6 months ago. A simple decision based on the values his mother taught him opened a new chapter in his life. A year and a half after Marcus started his internship program, his Help Connect app officially launched in Atlanta. On opening morning, Marcus stood on the stage of the Wilson Tech Auditorium, looking down at the hundreds of faces in the auditorium. Under the stage lights, he could see his mother sitting in the front row, wearing her most beautiful dress, her eyes shining with pride. "When I was little," Marcus began his speech, his voice echoing through the microphone, "my mother often said that the world is not lacking in good people. It's just that sometimes they don't know where to find each other. Help Connect was born to solve that problem." On the large screen behind Marcus, images of the app appeared. The interface is simple but sophisticated, with the icon being 2 hands holding each other. During 6 months of testing, the app connected more than 5,000 skilled people with people in need in the Atlanta area. "We've heard great stories," Marcus continued, about an electrician who helped an old man fix the electrical system in his house after a storm. About a mechanic who taught a single mother how to maintain her car herself to save money. About a carpenter who helped a young family renovating their home after they lost their jobs due to the pandemic. Marcus stopped, his eyes scanning the auditorium. But Help Connect isn't just about fixing broken things. It's about building trust, about creating meaningful connections within the community. It's about giving people a chance to express themselves. My kindness. From the front row, Sarah quietly wiped away her tears. Next to her, Mr. Wilson nodded appreciatively. Over the past months, he has become an important mentor to Marcus, not only in work, but also in life. I stand here today, Marcus continued, his voice low with emotion, not only as the founder of Help Connect, but as someone whose life was changed by a simple act of help. A year and a half ago, I was just a 15-year-old boy who stopped to help a stranger change a tire. Today, I stand here to say, every good deed, no matter how small, can make a difference, ripples of change. Applause echoed loudly in the hall. Marcus could see many people nodding in agreement, some even wiping tears from their eyes. But his eyes stopped at his mother's radiant face. After the ceremony, at a small party to celebrate the launch event, Mr. Wilson pulled Marcus to a quiet corner. "You know," he said, "when I met you that day, I thought I was helping a little boy, but actually, you were the one who gave me a valuable lesson." Marcus looked at him with questioning eyes. "You reminded me that success in business is not only measured by profits," Mr. Wilson explained, "but also by the positive impact we have on society." He pulled out an envelope from his pocket. "This is the company's gift for Help Connect launch day." Marcus opened the envelope, his eyes widening in surprise as he read its contents. It's a full scholarship for 4 years of college at MIT, along with a guaranteed Director of Product Development position at Wilson Tech after graduation. "Mr. Wilson, I don't know what to say," Marcus stammered. "Don't say anything," he smiled. "Just continue to be yourself, a young person with a kind heart and a desire to change the world. That's all we hope for." That evening, Marcus and his mother sat on the small balcony of their new apartment, where they had moved after Marcus started earning a steady income from his internship. City lights sparkle under the Atlanta night sky, and the chirping sounds of cicadas create the familiar music of Georgia summer nights. "Are you proud of me, Mom?" Marcus asked softly, like a child. Sarah hugged her son in her arms. "I have always been proud of you, from the first day you were born. Not because of your successes, but because you still maintain a kind heart, no matter the circumstances." Marcus leaned his head on his mother's shoulder, inhaling the familiar scent of the cheap shampoo that she still used, even though she could now afford more expensive ones. Some things never change, and that's a wonderful thing. "Do you remember," Sarah continued, "when I used to tell you the story about the butterfly?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, I remember. About how a small flap of wings can create a storm on the other side of the world." "That's right," Sarah smiled. "And now you have created your own storm, a storm of kindness and connection." Marcus looked down at the city, where Help Connect users were connecting with each other, creating their own stories. He thought about his journey, from a poor boy in the old neighborhood to the founder of an app that could change other people's lives. It all started with a simple decision: stopping to help a stranger. "You know," Marcus said, "I think sometimes life is like a circle. We get good things when we give, and the things we give come back in unexpected ways." Unexpected. Sarah nodded, smiling proudly. They sat there, mother and child, in the peace of the Atlanta night, listening to the heartbeat of a city slowly being connected by invisible threads of kindness and care. In the sky, a shooting star flashed past, leaving a bright streak of light. Marcus doesn't need to wish for anything. He already has everything he needs: a great mother, a meaningful job, and the opportunity to help others. Sometimes, the best dreams are not the things we wish for ourselves, but the things we can do to make the world a little better.